Sure. Let's say
I
that
just
you
don't like the
weigh. Let's say that
concept of
you're
it.
a 100-pound woman, and you walk in, and there's a 250-pound elite level bodybuilder about to rape your 5-year-old child. Child will survive, no problem, but it'll be a little traumatized, a little worse for wear. Do you think in that case you have a right to murder the 250-pound bodybuilder, or do you think that because murder is worse than like surviving rape, do you think that would be unethical to intervene in that situation?
This is really tricky because you're putting me in a tight, like, because, this is like,
Yeah, so she's insane. Simply for the fact that she values these lives equally. Rose wants to prioritize criminals over victims. And any legal system built on that principle will make society crumble.
this is like probably the most justifiable case you can think
Well,
of,
but how is it
right?
justifiable? The child's not going to die, and you're talking about killing somebody else for inconveniencing the child. Might be a pretty severe inconvenience, but it's an inconvenience
Yeah.
nonetheless, right?
I mean, there's like studies that like, kids who like get raped, like they have that's, it's psychological for the rest of their life. And also just kind of a really sick person to do such a thing.
I mean, most
I
rapes
would,
are probably going to be pretty psychological for the rest of your life, but
yeah, I would hope that, I mean, in that case, it's probably pretty okay to murder the person.
you're still doing more harm, though, than what they'd be doing by just raping.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like hesitant, It's like I don't think killing is good, but if it prevents the because it's like
And this is where most utilitarian lefties run into a big problem with their worldview. They argue for a system that maximizes the pleasure of all people, and they include criminals in that formula. So when doing their moral calculus, they have to ask whether the pleasure of the criminals outweighs the suffering of the innocent. And so it becomes difficult for them to determine whether it's actually okay for a criminal gang to essay an innocent girl. But the question I would pose to them is, have you ever considered that not all subjective experience is equal? Why must all life be equally valuable? But the most important question of all is this: are you for equality at the cost of your own flourishing?
If you're defending against something, you always have to escalate. Otherwise, you're just having a fun fight, right? Don't you always have to, like, let's say somebody shows up outside with a knife, okay, and somebody's like, oh shit, like somebody came with a knife, they're gonna invade our home. Like, would the answer be like, okay, I'm gonna go grab my knife from downstairs and we're gonna knife fight? Well, no, you're always gonna escalate to the next level because they're aggressing on you. You wanna end the conflict, not entertain like a fun challenge, right?
I guess, but I mean, the thing is, obviously, you try to flee the situation if you can, but assuming you can't, I
Of
mean, you
course.
have to defend yourself in some way.
This right here is the problem. Coddling criminals, giving them more legal protections than law-abiding citizens, allowing them to take what doesn't belong to them, legally forcing someone to run away rather than defend their property, only incentivizes criminals to attack even more, because now they're rewarded for their anti-civilized behavior. It's ironic. Law-abiding citizens pay taxes just for their own government to coddle, defend, and give infinite chances to the non-participating dregs of society. And it's cheered on by the stupidly misguided empathy of self-destructive Karens. The death of civilization begins when the civilized can no longer defend themselves.
But like when they saw my tweet, they thought, "Oh, this person's pro-rape. This person's saying that women should just sit there and take it." And it's like, no, I just don't think that like it's the worst thing in the world compared to literally being murdered. I feel like if you're gonna kill somebody, like that person could become a good person later in life.
Give your body to the criminal. Give it to them because your life is equally valuable to theirs. Because killing is always wrong. Your autonomy apparently isn't comparable to their life. I understand Rose's argument. It's just not a very good one. Because if she had her way and we banned defensive killing, this would just lead to more SA. But even more important is the qualitative difference between people who SA and the people who abide by the law. Let me ask you, would you rather live with someone who respects your body and property, or someone who values their wants more than your body and property? You can live with criminals, and it's partly the fault of someone like Rose that we currently live in a world where criminals roam freely. But that's a bad society, because it makes it harder to run businesses, to go on a night out in the city, to live safely in your own house. Because when criminals roam the streets, they're likely to commit crimes against you, no matter where you are.
So let's blow this rule out then to all of society, and let's look at two different principles that we could use to analyze the ethics of these interactions. In one society, a person that is raping somebody ought never to be killed. That would actually be punishable because we don't want to kill people just for doing something that's less than killing somebody. Okay, and then in
Yeah.
another society, people can be killed just for raping somebody. which of these societies do we think overall would be like a morally better place to live? The society where people can rape with impunity, or the society where rapists get killed with impunity?
I would say the better society is the one where nobody gets killed.
Rose is dangerous. She's a voter, and she will vote for policies that reflect her worldview. And in her worldview, she believes in a legal system that discourages self-defense against SA. It's people like her who are forcing civilization to become uncivilized, all because it makes her feel icky to kill criminals, people who, by definition, don't care about your body or property. And I don't even think she has malevolent intent. She's probably a nice person in real life, and she probably thinks that what she's doing is nice, but it's kindness at the cost of your life.
If a human decides to walk up and attack somebody, I feel like part of the implicit buy-in that we have of being humans with each other is we kind of agree to respect each other's space, privacy, autonomy, their health. If somebody's willing to take a step and violate that agency, aren't they engaging in a form of like self-dehumanization a little bit?
I wouldn't say that makes them unhuman, though. Like, they're still, and that's the thing, is like people treat them like they're not human, but they are still human. Human beings can do really bad things.
Do you think that they're treating their victims as human? Or do you think they're dehumanizing their victims?
They probably are dehumanizing to an extent. I think dehumanization is bad across the board, right? Just because somebody else is doing something bad doesn't mean we have to fall victim to the same behavior.
The language here is messy. The terms human and humanization are being morally loaded. The strict definition of the term is just a certain species of biological life form. But when talking about self-dehumanization, Destiny and Rose mean it in the intrinsic sense. They're suggesting that there's something intrinsically special about being human. But this is ridiculous. There is no intrinsic goodness, and it wouldn't even matter if there were, because there are humans who wish to live peacefully, and humans who wish to destroy the things that you love. It doesn't matter if destructive humans have intrinsic value, because they are your enemy, and it's you or them.
You say, I'm going to kill you if you don't leave, and the guy's like, fuck you, I'm stealing this anyway. You're like, fuck. So then you call the cops. The cops show up. What are the cops going to do? They're going to pull their guns out, and they're going to say, you need to drop it. What if the guy then says, no, I'm not going to drop it, I'm going to keep stealing it? Well, the cops have to shoot the guy eventually?
Unfortunately, that in America, because we live in a golden culture, that's probably what would happen. But the hope would be that like you would be able to get the person to stop by non-lethal methods, put them in handcuffs. I know realistically, not super likely, but I would say like it's probably more ethical to like if someone's going to steal my TV, steal a few possessions, I just like let them. It's like it's not worth putting myself in danger. It's not worth putting this other person in danger.
Legalizing crime will destroy a country because people are just animals. Sophisticated animals, but animals nonetheless. If you incentivize them to steal, they will steal because it's in their expedient interest to do so. This is why everything must come down to force at the end of the day. Not because might makes right, but because might makes. Whoever has more power is gonna have their way. Right now, civilized people outnumber uncivilized people. That's the only reason our country is habitable. But if these empathetic Karens have their way, soon it won't be.
Like, it's just, should you be forced to sit and watch somebody steal your property? There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, I say it's like, it's fine. I mean, the only thing is like, obviously, if you don't take any action, the argument can be made that like, oh, this could happen more in the future because people know they can get away with it. So like I can understand that argument. I just feel like there's a way to prevent crime without like...
She even knows it's going to increase crime, but violence just makes her feel icky. Sucks to be you, I guess. A law-abiding, civilized person.
What if two dudes go to the gym, get shredded? These are big guys, okay? Nobody's ever beating these guys up. Nobody's ever taken them down. They get gas masks and they start going to houses and stealing shit. Don't these guys basically get to steal things unlimitedly because now nobody can ever stop them because they're not allowed to kill them and they can't beat them up?
I feel like if they did it enough, people would be able to identify them, and the police would have some method of capturing them.
Yeah, but let's say the police can't find them. These guys wear masks every time. They wear gloves. I'm just talking in the ethical part. Like, aren't these guys basically given carte blanche to go into any house and steal whatever they want because nobody can kill them? They're not more ethically allowed to. Let's say we live in a perfectly ethical society except for these two people. Like,
I guess so. But like, I feel like there's a way to deal with it that doesn't involve murder.
So I'll try to rephrase this. I'm going to reframe, and I'm just going to be totally honest with you. I will never be able to convince you of my worldview.
You won't.
I know. But the reason is not because I'm not a great orator or I don't make good points or I haven't said things which should be compelling to a person. I just think, honestly, you're too fucking stupid to understand them.